me 5 things that you're most grateful for. What are they? Your kids, your family, friends, pets? How often do you interact with them? Why do you think that is? My name is Bandile Koketso Mbuli. I'm an artist in the film industry. I want to talk about something that I feel like we don't often talk about. We certainly complain about it on set, but I don't know if we're doing much about it. So what does that mean? What is it? Rest. How much of it do we even get? If you're working a standard 12-hour day, in more creative departments like costume, makeup, art direction, that means if you're lucky, you're doing an hour extra either way. So that's 2 hours. That's a 14-hour day, minimum. So I've been doing a little research. And did you know that you're 4.5 times more likely to suffer a stroke than someone who sleeps 7 to 8 hours a day? How often do you actually get to take advantage of that? If my experience is anything to go by, not often enough. Fact checks.
Studies show that chronically sleeping fewer than 6 hours a night increases stroke risk by 4.5 times compared to those getting a consistent 7 to 8 hours of shut-eye.
Sleeping increases physical performance. It increases your mental agility, your ability to react faster, your ability to be effective, to have a productive day. I think our way of looking at this is warped. Because how often do we zone out when I'm sitting next to my standby friend and we've missed everything that's gone on camera? And we're literally like, oh, did that collar move? Being awake, being present, being aware of your body is the only thing that makes you an effective artist. Essentially, sleep is. Now, if we talk about the reasons why we do what we do, mine for one, is to not only explore color, texture, form, create a story, tell my story, tell our stories. But it's also to heal. And I think if COVID has taught us anything, it's that everyone needs healing. So with everything you have, with every resource you've accumulated, with all the knowledge between your ears, heal. But you can't heal if you won't take care of yourself. The only way to heal is to stop. And I think it's about time that we asked ourselves the question, what does stopping look like? What does unraveling look like? What does stepping a little closer to what I actually want to do look like? Is what I do with my body worth it? If I do think it is, then maybe I should see how a healthier way of engaging that is. I don't know about your film industry, but I do know that the South African film industry has lost many talented crew members to commercials rather than long-form film, for example. Then finally drop out of the film industry, not because we don't love it here, not because we're not passionate about it, that this isn't our dream. Of course it is. We've just got to find other ways of engaging it. And a perpetual state of fatigue isn't it.
We certainly know that a lack of sleep will actually prevent your brain from being able to initially make new memories. So it's almost as though without sleep, the memory inbox of the brain shuts down and you can't commit new experiences to memory. So those new incoming informational emails are just bounced and you end up feeling as though you're amnesic. You can't essentially make and create those new memories. We also know that a lack of sleep will lead to an increased development of a toxic protein in the brain that is called beta amyloid, and that is associated with Alzheimer's disease, because it is during deep sleep at night when a sewage system within the brain actually kicks into high gear and it starts to wash away this toxic protein, beta amyloid. So if you're not getting enough sleep each and every night, more of that Alzheimer's related protein will build up. The more protein that builds up, the greater your risk of going on to develop dementia in later life. What are the effects of sleep deprivation on the body? Well, there are many different effects. Firstly, we know that sleep deprivation affects the reproductive system. We know that men who are sleeping just 5 to 6 hours a night have a level of testosterone which is that of someone 10 years their senior. So a lack of sleep will age you by almost a decade in terms of that aspect of virility and wellness. We also know that a lack of sleep impacts your immune system. So after just one night of 4 to 5 hours of sleep, there is a 70% reduction in critical anti-cancer fighting immune cells called natural killer cells. And that's the reason that we know that short sleep duration predicts your risk for developing numerous forms of cancer. And that list currently includes cancer of the bowel, cancer of the prostate, as well as cancer of the breast. In fact, the link between a lack of sleep and cancer is now so strong that recently the World Health Organization decided to classify any form of nighttime shift work as a probable carcinogen.
Think about it. Aren't you sick of being in a car, better yet, a panel van, better yet, a truck, and you've got all of the windows down and you're driving home and you're literally bopping to the song you hate the most just so you can be awake enough to drive the car that you're blacking out over and trying to get home so you might not die? That can't be normal. This isn't normal. There's so much that we could do to ensure that our bodies are healthy, that we think better. Where do we create from? What do we create for? Why are you here? By here I mean the film industry. By here I mean, what are you passionate about? I'm passionate about this. I want to do this. I want to create here. But we need to agree that here isn't sustainable. We have to create systems that work for us. We have to get to a place where we can ideate from a place of rest. I think lockdowns taught us so much about our body clocks, so much about how we actually sleep. Apparently you can reset the entire thing, your entire system, by sleeping for 2 days and just watching how your body clock reacts naturally. I worked on a job once that made me lose about 10 kgs in 2 weeks. Now I don't know what you call being absent, but that sounded pretty absent to me. That moment made me think, is what I do worth it? I mean, you'll talk to a bunch of people on set that always go, oh, we're not saving lives, right? So you're like, right, so if I'm not saving lives, why am I giving so much to this thing? But the truth is, COVID crept along, and I don't know if any of us would have made it without the artists that exist. So maybe I am saving lives after all. But I've got to save these lives in a way that promotes my own. And how do I do that? Who do I engage? Who do I speak to? Do we accept systems just as they are because they are? Or do we change them? I think we've lost enough crew lives, enough lives to depression, enough lives to mental health issues. We barely see our friends. We barely know our family. For every hour that you're losing, you can only make up for over 4 days. How aware are you when you're in a constant state of fatigue? Did you know that people who are exhausted react the same and have the same driving speed, driving temperament as people under the influence of alcohol? Or that you're 4.5 times more likely to have a stroke? 4.5 times. 2.5 times more likely to have a heart attack if you sleep less. The service industry and the film industry as a whole usually demands more of you than what you're willing to give, doesn't it? So why do we do it? I'll tell you why. Because we love it here. Because this is what we dream about. This is what we want to create. This is what we want to create from our gut, and that's why we stay. But over time, it takes a toll. It breaks you slowly. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's true. The amount of things that we get up to that are not in the interest of our health, that are here to either keep us awake, keep us active, keep us doing that great job that everyone so loves you for. You know you're breaking. It's a sad state. So, why do you think we buy into systems that don't benefit us? And we know we can do a lot with that if we wanted to. We've seen systems changed. In the 50s, shoot days were 8 hours. 8 hours. You had more to squeeze life into. That wasn't a turnaround time of 10 hours, which you probably won't even get. And if you do, kudos to you. But when you've worked a 6-day week and you've stretched yourself 14 to 16 to 18 hours each day, all you can do on that one day off is sleep if you're lucky. Oh, but wait, I have an entire family to catch up with. I've missed my daughter's recital. I see less and less of my wife, my husband, my spouse. Divorce rates flare. Depression flares. Suicides flare. We all know it. We've all seen it. We can't deny it. But we're so in love with where we are. Let's change it. I dare us to change it. Where do we create from? Did you know that your gut is essentially your first brain? Did you know that if you take care of your gut, you take care of this? And when we dream, and when we come up with concepts, and when we're most brilliant, it starts right here. So how do we change the way we eat? How do you stop drinking the 18 cups of caffeine to keep your eyes open? To get you ready, to get you running to set, to get you ironing a seam, steaming a hem, checking eyelashes. How do we have a different interaction, different relationship with our boundaries? What are our boundaries? And do we uphold them? They apply everywhere else, with every other relationship, but this, how is that possible? The best meme on social media right now is of a man literally saying,
Rest before to rest, rest before to rest.